For thousands of years, the Gorzel Empire ruled the stars with power and pride. They had crushed dozens of civilizations. Their weapons were unmatched, their fleets were feared, and their arrogance had no limits to them. New species were either tools or toys, and then they discovered Earth. It started with a scan. A Gorzel scout ship picked up strange signals from the Sol system broadcasts of humans talking, fighting, laughing, and videos, music, wars, games. They didn't see humans as dangerous. They saw them as funny. The Gorzel laughed. They edited human videos, wars, speeches, games, and added mocking voices and music. They made it look like humans were fools, trying to act strong. Then they streamed it across the galaxy as entertainment. The show was called The Final Joke. It went viral. Billions of aliens across hundreds of worlds laughed at the silly little humans. They made memes. They sold toys. They called Earth the Joke Planet. One general, laughing so hard he spilled his drink, said, "Look at them shouting, waving metal guns, dancing in fire. They think they are warriors. Huh, they don't even have plasma weapons." But someone was listening, far beyond the public. Networks, hidden in silence, was a small human scout ship, S-71. Ghost Runner stationed near a dead moon. Just outside the Zargon Belt, the crew of 5 had been gathering data on nearby alien activity, and now they were watching these broadcasts with cold eyes. Captain Arya Knox, the commander, stood in the ship's control room. She didn't laugh. She didn't speak. She just stared at the screen. Behind her, Lieutenant Silva muttered, "They think we're weak." Knox replied, calm and cold, "Let them." 2 weeks later, a Gorzel destroyer named Gravithorn picked up a distress signal near a mining colony in Sector Aton. A rock humans called Outpost Delta 4. The Gorzel believed it was an abandoned station. They didn't know humans still operated there secretly. Commander Thalvek of the Gravithorn ordered an inspection. "Send in the shock troops," he growled. "Show these monkeys how the real galaxy works." 4 troop shuttles launched. The sky above Delta 4 turned black as the Gorzel shuttles screamed toward the surface. Inside, dozens of elite alien soldiers waited with heavy gear and shock weapons. Their mission: capture the station, mock any humans, and leave a warning behind. As they landed, no resistance came. No gunfire, no alarms, just silence. The soldiers spread out, entering the steel corridors of the mining station, empty rooms, cold lights, a dust on the walls. Then, sound. A whisper through the radio. Target lock confirmed. Then darkness. The lights shut off. Doors slammed shut. The Gorzel were trapped inside like cattle, and then came the flashes. Explosions lit the halls. Silent shadows moved through the smoke. Red beams sliced through armor. Screams filled the cums. The Gorzel had trained for war. But they hadn't trained for this. Outside, in orbit, Commander Thalvek watched the disaster unfold on his screens. "They're gone." "All of them," said his officer, voice shaking. Thalvek stood silent. His claws trembled. He didn't laugh anymore. One alien survived. His name was Vorkar, a junior comms officer. He had stayed in the shuttle while the others entered. He hid when the battle began. Hours later, the shuttle doors opened, and a human stepped in. Black armor, no insignia, helmet glowing red. The human looked at Vorkar, then spoke just one word: "Go." Vorkar didn't argue. He launched the shuttle and flew back to the Gravithorns, sobbing in fear. Later, when the Gorzel reviewed the data, they were confused. The human weapons were ancient. Bullets, fire, blades, but they moved with purpose. They used darkness, like a tool. Their attacks were silent, precise, surgical. The report said. Enemies showed unusual combat behavior. Not suicidal, not emotional, just calm, focused, like a machine. Their tech is weak, but their minds are deadly. The Gorzel Empire tried to keep it quiet, but whispers spread stories of humans fighting like shadows, soldiers who didn't speak, didn't scream, just killed. The galaxy didn't laugh anymore. Instead, it waited, because the last thing the Gravithorn picked up before losing signal again was a transmission from Earth. A simple message sent in every known alien language. You thought we were funny? Now you'll see why we trained in silence. Word of the Delta IV incident spread fast, but not officially. The Gorzel Empire never admitted failure. Their news channels said it was a system glitch, that their troops retreated to avoid radiation. But in private, their military knew the truth. Humans had fought back. And won. Still, most of the galaxy didn't believe it to them. Humans were still the joke species, emotional, unorganized, and centuries behind in tech. Other alien races joined the mockery. Even the Krell Dominion, known for their brutal raids, said if the Gorza lost, it was because they were drunk. But something felt off. Because right after Delta IV, human space went silent. In the Empire's command center, orbiting Zalthar Prime, General Solmik of the Gorzel stood before a room full of officers. "Hear this," he growled. "Humans think they can scare us. No, we are the Gorzel. We do not hide. Crush." His claws slammed the table. "Send a fleet to the colony near Proxima Gate. Burn it. Let them beg." Everyone nodded, all except one, Commander Relvik. "A younger officer who had studied human data closely, sir," he said quietly. "We should observe first." Something as Solmik raised a hand. No fear. Attack. And so, they did. 3 warships and 2 troop carriers jumped through hyperspace. Their target, Borealis 3, a human colony known for its deep mining operations. Population 30,000. They expected panic. They expected surrender. They got silence. The Al ships arrived above Borealis 3. Scanners picked up power readings, but no shields. No fighter defenses, just stillness. They hailed the colony. No response. They scanned for life signs, still active. So the Gorzel prepared their landing troops. Elite teams. Hundreds of armored warriors. Commander Roth led the ground assault. As his shuttle descended, he laughed. They didn't even lock their doors. But the moment the shuttles hit the atmosphere, the skies changed. The calm clouds above Borealis 3 twisted black. Then green lights flashed from the mountains and seen cannons rising from deep rock. Defense grids that hadn't been visible on scan. Lasers, old-fashioned missiles, and kinetic railguns blasted upward. 3 Gorzel shuttles exploded in seconds. Only to make it to the ground, Roth's shuttle crashed hard, then silence. Inside the wreckage, his soldiers crawled out, bleeding, confused, scared. Then they saw them. Humans. Dozens. No high-tech armor. No energy weapons. Just helmets, body armor, and old-world rifles. And yet, they stood tall, calm. One of them walked forward, holding a heavy machine gun. Roth stepped forward. "You don't scare me?" he snarled. The human answered, "We're not here to scare you. We're here to end you." Then the shooting started. It wasn't a long battle. It wasn't even a fair one. The gore. Zell had better armor, but the humans had position. The aliens had numbers. But the humans had discipline. Every time the Gorzel moved, a human sniper dropped one. Every time they tried to charge, a trap exploded. Every escape route was blocked. In less than 12 minutes, it was over. Roth was the last to fall. Staring up at a human soldier who didn't speak, just pressed a boot on his chest and looked down with emotionless eyes. Up in orbit, the remaining warships tried to fire, but something jammed their targeting systems. Their control panels filled with static, and then a message appeared on their main screens. "Try again. We dare you." Then a single projectilan, old-style nuclear shell launched from the colony and hit one of the ships directly. It didn't destroy it, but it stunned everyone. A primitive missile bypassed their shields. They retreated back on Zalthar Prime. General Solmik watched the footage, shaking with rage. "This is impossible," he said. But Commander Relvik stepped forward, placing a datapad on the table. "Sir, humans aren't weak. They're quiet. They train like predators. They study us. And now they're using our arrogance as a weapon." Solmik glared. "They don't even have plasma tech." Relvik nodded. They don't need it. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, rumors spread faster than any warship. Aliens who had once mocked humans started to go silent. Others began locking down their borders near human space. And pirates, once proud of raiding Terran ships, suddenly vanished. No one had answers, only fear, and deep in space. On Earth's secret defense satellite, General Rachel Voss stood in a dark command room, watching holograms of alien fleets. She turned to her team and said, "They're still laughing. Let them. They won't be laughing after Phase 2. The galaxy didn't speak of Earth anymore. Not publicly. No media shows, no jokes, no memes, just silence, whispers in the dark. Everyone had heard what happened at Borealis 3. They heard how the Gorzel lost again, this time with better weapons and more troops. And still, they couldn't defeat humans using primitive guns and old tactics. It didn't make sense, but it made them afraid, in a hidden part of the galaxy. The Siren Confederacy, one of the oldest alien races, gathered. In secret, they were not warriors. They were scientists, scholars, and spies. And what they discovered changed everything. Inside a deep data vault on the planet Thrixon 6, agent named Velron ran a security briefing. "All of you," he said to the gathered council, "have seen the footage." Earth was not sleeping. They were hiding. He tapped a control pad. The screen showed old video logs, secret human training facilities under deserts, oceans, and even on the moon. Thousands of soldiers trained in silence. No broadcasts, no signals, no cries for help, just discipline. Then another video. Battles simulated in full environments. It's humans practicing against every known alien tactic. Even those used 200 years ago by species long extinct, they have studied. "Us all," Velron whispered. And they waited. One elder leaned forward. "Why?" Velron's voice turned cold, because they knew the day would come when someone would laugh, and they would have to show their true face. Meanwhile, far from Thrixon 6, a pirate ship named Daggerfang was drifting in silence after raiding a cargo route near human space. They'd taken cargo from what they thought was an unarmed Terran. Freighter. They were wrong. The freighter had gone. Dark Butt didn't explode. It just vanished. Now, Daggerfang floated alone, its systems crashing, its engines failing. The crew didn't know why. Then the lights flickered. The pilot whispered, "Something's on board." One by one, the pirates vanished, pulled into shadows, dragged into vents. No gunfire, no shouting, just silence, until one survivor made it to the escape pod as he launched into space. He looked back and saw a human figure standing in the broken window of the ship, black armor, red eyes, no emotion. The pod drifted for days before the siren picked him up. He kept repeating the same line. "We took their cargo, and they took our souls." Back on Earth, the real reason behind the silence was finally revealed, in a chamber deep beneath Antarctica. The Terran Shadow Command activated Project Razornet, an AI-powered defense system designed to monitor the galaxy, break alien code, and shut down enemy fleets before they even launched. General Rachel Voss met with a small group of Terran leaders. "Our weapons are older," as she said, "but our minds are sharper. We have one thing the rest of the galaxy forgot long ago." She pointed to a screen showing soldiers training in harsh environments, night and day. Will. But humans weren't just training anymore. They were preparing to strike. And in the dark edges of space, something stirred. A prototype-shipped ENS Revenant left Earth under full cloak. No lights, no signals. Its mission, to enter Gorzel space and collect data directly from their war councils. Aboard the Revenant was Captain Marcus Dre, the man who had once trained the first Terran Black Ops unit. His crew was silent, deadly, and hungry for revenge. Inside the Gorzel Empire, things were falling apart. Commander Relvik tried warning the Council. "They are not a joke," he said. "They are not primitive. We made them angry." But the elders still didn't believe. "They don't even have wormhole tech," one scoffed. Relvik replied coldly, "They don't need to run. We do." Back in deep space, the Revenant reached the Gorzel fleet yards. Without firing a shot, it slipped past 4 patrols. It parked itself beneath the Empire's largest dreadnought Bloodstar and began scanning its core systems. Within minutes, the human AI had downloaded all fleet movements, ship schematics, and weapon codes. Before leaving, the Revenant did one last thing. It sent a message directly to the Dreadnought's captain. We were here. You never saw us. You never will, until it's too late. The Dreadnought panicked. Thousands of crew scrambled. The ship fired its weapons randomly into space. No human ship was visible, because by then, the Revenant was already gone. That night, across 17 alien worlds, the same message appeared in their skies, a hologram of Earth, spinning slowly, and these words written in every language: you laughed at us. Now the silence begins. Be ready. The Gorzel Empire had lost many things: troops, pride, silence, but they still had one symbol of power. The Dreadnought, BLOODST. It was the largest warship in the galaxy. Over 3 kilometers long, 15 plasma cannons. Shield systems. Powered by twin star cores. 1,000 soldiers on board. No alien race had ever even scratched it. And then, it vanished. It started like any normal day. Bloodstar was stationed near the twin moons of Virex 9, where the Empire was building a new fleet base. Captain Serac, one of the Empire's most ruthless officers, stood on the bridge. Our scanners are clear, the crew reported. No enemy ships, no signals. Serac smirked. Humans don't have the strength to face us here. We're safe. They were wrong, because at that moment, deep inside the ships, someone was already moving. 20 hours earlier, a small human infiltration team had boarded Bloodstar using stolen Empire cargo containers, hidden between food crates. They waited until the ship docked at Virex-9. When the containers were opened, soldiers were gone. Already loose, already inside, Captain Marcus Dre and his Black Phantom unit were trained for one thing: ghost warfare. They didn't march, they didn't shout, they just moved through vents. Hacked systems, placed charge, it vanished. By the time the Empire realized something was wrong, it was too late. In the Bloodstar's engine chamber, alarms began to scream. Reactor. Temperatures were rising fast. The crew rushed to fix it, shouting over each other. But the core wouldn't respond. Suddenly, lights across the ship went dark. All screens turned black. Then a message appeared. Blinking slowly in Gorzo language, "We warned you." Captain Sorak ran to the command center. He shouted, "Activate emergency jump, now." But the ship didn't move. Instead, every internal camera showed the same image. Human soldiers standing calmly in the main reactor room, black armor. Red visors, no fear. Sorak's eyes widened. How did they then the signal cut? From a Gorzel scout ship nearby, a crew of technicians watched in horror as the Bloodstar began to drift. Its engines glowed, then went dark, then silence. No explosion. No wreckage, just gone. The strongest ship in the Empire's history had vanished without a single human ship in sight. Hours later, Terran Command received a short message from the Phantom unit. Package neutralized. No noise, no trace. They won't sleep tonight. General. Rachel Voss smiled. They won't sleep any night after this. The Gorzel Council met in emergency session. Even the proudest generals were now afraid. One shouted, "They didn't attack. They didn't fight us head on, they just walked inside." Another whispered, "How can we fight an enemy who doesn't show their face?" The room was filled with fear, and then Commander Relvek entered. He placed a small object on the table. It was the badge of the Bloodstar's captain sent to him anonymously, Relvek said. "They don't want to destroy us all at once. They want us to watch as they take everything, piece by piece." Elsewhere in the galaxy, the other alien races began making quiet changes. The Siren Confederacy pulled their trade ships. back from human roots. The Krell Dominion sealed its borders near Sol, and the Vrax, Syndicate, the same group that once sold humans as pets, sent a peace message to Earth. But Earth didn't reply. It was silent, watching, waiting on Earth's hidden base beneath Mars. Captain Dre debriefed his team. No casualties, he said. Complete success. A younger soldier asked, "Why didn't we just destroy the ship?" Dre replied, "Because fear lasts longer than fire." In a shadowed control room, General Voss connected with the Terran AI. "Show me the next target," she said. The AI projected a hologram. A Gorzel weapons lab deep beneath a lava planet. Impossible to reach. Impossible to breach. Voss nodded. "Then we'll show them nothing is impossible." And far away, on a lonely mining world in neutral space, a group of alien children gathered around a broken screen. One of them whispered, "Tell us the story again, the one about the humans." Another replied, "They were weak until they decided not to be." After the blood star vanished, the Gorzel Empire stopped laughing. But Earth didn't stop moving. They had already chosen their next target, not a ship, not a colony, but something worse, buried deep under the frozen crust of Voraxivantina. Cold, dead planet at the edge of known space was the Gorzel Weapons Research Vault, known only to the highest ranks. Even most of their own military didn't know it existed. They're hidden under ice and rock. The Empire built its most dangerous weapons. Prototypes, virus, bombs, star killers, devices meant to wipe out planets. Before a shot was even fired, and Earth knew all about it. The information came from a source, the Gore. Zell never expected one. Of their own, Commander Relvik had made contact with Terran Command. No one trusted him, not even the humans. But he hated what his empire had become, and he feared what would happen if those weapons were ever used. He gave them the vault's location, and he gave them time, in a dark chamber on Mars Base 7. Captain Marcus Dre listened carefully as General Voss spoke. "The galaxy still thinks. We fight with guns," she said. "They don't know we've already won this war, in the shadows." She pointed to the frozen world spinning on the holoscreen. "That vault holds enough power to destroy Earth twice over. I want it gone." Dre nodded once. "We'll melt the ice." 12 Terran operatives dropped into Vorex 17 in near total silence. They wore cold suits designed for temperatures that would freeze blood in seconds. The plan was simple: infiltrate, destroy, disappear. But nothing ever goes as planned. Beneath the ice, the Gorzel scientists had already completed a prototype of weapon called the Ember Seed. A star core in a capsule, small enough to be fired from orbit. If launched, it could turn a planet's surface into fire in seconds. One of the scientists smiled. "Soon, Earth will burn." But before he could celebrate, the alarm screamed. Too late. The humans were already inside. It started with a tremor. Then an explosion rocked the side tunnel. Red lights filled the halls. A squad of black-armored Terrans stormed through the corridor, cutting down guards with perfect precision. Not fast, not messy. Just cold and focused. In the control room, the lead scientist tried to activate the Ember Seed, but his fingers froze. Literally, the room temperature dropped to -80 degrees in seconds. A mist rolled in, and from that mist stepped Operative 6, the human cold specialist. No sound. No fear. Just a steel weapon and hand-and frost in his eyes. "You play with fire," he said, but forgot who owns the cold. While the scientists panicked, the rest of the human team planted charges through the lower levels. Every weapon vault, every lab, every fuel cell. Captain Dre's voice came through. "Comes 10 minutes to full melt." But something went wrong. An auto-lockdown sealed the main exit. The team was trapped. Above the planet, a single Terran stealth ship waited for the signal, but none came. Instead, I heard static, then Dre's voice. "Do not abort. Repeat, do not abort. We finish what we start." Back inside the vault, Dre and 2 others rerouted power manually, bypassing the lock ice. Cracked. Systems sparked, With 19 seconds left, they burst into the upper passage, dragging each other toward the surface. Behind them, the Ember Seed glowed red. The Terran ship picked up their signals. The pilot shouted, "They're out, go." The ship swooped in low. Barely above the icy cliffs, the ramp opened midair. Dre and his team jumped. The ship pulled away, and the world below exploded. Not in flames, but with steam. The heat from the charges hit the cold crust, splitting the surface. Open. The entire vault sank into molten rock, taking every prototype, every secret, and every last Gorzel scientist with it. Vorax-17 didn't burn. It boiled back on Earth. The news was never shared publicly. No headlines, no speeches, only one line. Entered the Terran archives. Operation Icefire. Success. Vault erased. Message delivered. But the Gorzal knew. When their patrol drones found only a smoking crater, their war leaders went quiet. They understood. Nowhere was safe, not even the cold. Across alien networks, a rumor spread. The humans walk through fire. They breathe in the dark, and under ice. The galaxy once called humans the joke. Now they called them shadows. The galaxy had watched silently as Earth moved through the shadows. First, the laughing stopped. Then the fear began. And now, the Gorzel Empire started to break. But no. One expected it to fall so fast. On the throne world Kalar Prime, panic spread across the marble towers and glowing sky bridges. 3 major warships were gone. The secret weapons vault beneath Vorax-17 was destroyed. No enemy ships had been seen. No armies landed. And yet, the Empire was bleeding. One whisper echoed in every dark hallway. The humans did this. High Marshal Voker, the most decorated commander in Gorzel history, stood before the Imperial War Council. He slammed a clawed hand on the map table. They have no fleets, no plasma tech. How are they doing this? No one answered, because even the council didn't understand. They had mocked humanity for years, called them primitive, chaotic, emotional. But now the humans were moving like a machine, calculated, quiet, deadly, and they weren't attacking planets. They were attacking symbols. Meanwhile, deep in unclaimed space, a fleet of human stealth cruisers hovered in darkness. General Rachel Voss stood at the helm of TNS Vengeance, watching the hologram of Gorzel space. They never saw the trap, she said. Beside her, Captain Marcus Dre nodded. They thought fear came from force. We gave them something worse. Control. Terran. AI had been working in silence, breaking into Gorzel data systems. Not to shut them down, but to turn them against themselves. Gorzel factories started building weapons for enemy targets. Cargo routes were accidentally changed. Orders to attack were replaced with fake messages to retreat. Entire battle. Groups moved in circles, lost in confusion. It was silent warfare, and it was working. On a remote Gorzel world called Vorentel, riots broke out. The citizens blamed the council. Why did they provoke the humans? Why did they mock them? Why are our children dying in a war we never even declared? Statues were torn down, flags burned. Soldiers refused to fire on their own people, and in the chaos, a message appeared. Across every screen broadcast from an unknown location, you chose war. We chose to finish it. Inside the Empire, Commander Relvath, the same Gorzel, who warned the council weeks ago, watched as it all collapsed. He turned to his aide. This wasn't just a fight, he said quietly. It was a lesson. The aide asked, a lesson. In what? Relvik stared at the fires rising beyond the city towers. A lesson in what happens when you laugh at something you don't understand. Back in Terran space, Earth remained calm, no celebrations. No boasts. The people knew it wasn't over, but they also knew the galaxy had changed. Humanity had risen not with noise, but with silence. Not with power, but with precision. Now the predators of the past were running in a quiet field on Earth. An old veteran named Sergeant Elias Rowe watched the night sky. He had fought in the early border skirmishes. Before the war became cold and silent, a young recruit sat beside him and asked, "Why didn't we fight them the old way?" Rowe didn't smile. He just said, "Because they expected that. We gave them something else. We gave them fear." And in deep orbit, a Gorzel dreadnought fled toward the edge of the galaxy. It didn't matter. A single message appeared on there. Radar, blinking once. Nowhere to run. Then the engines died. The lights went out, and the dreadnought was never seen again. The Gorzel Empire fell in silence. No battles, no fleets. Only precision, only shadows. And at the center of that silence stood humanity. The Gorzel Empire had fallen. Its cities still stood. Its ships still floated, but its spirit, its pride was gone. They had ruled with fear. Now they lived in it. And across the galaxy, something new was happening. Species who once laughed at Earth now looked toward it with quiet respect, or fear, or both. In the nebula-covered world of Thal's Reach, representatives of 5 alien civilizations met in secret: the Siren, the Krell, the Jarnathi, the Draxery. And for the first time, humans. The meeting had no name, but soon it would be known by one. The Pact of Shadows, Captain Marcus Dre arrived first, stepping off a silent Terran shuttle. He wore no weapons. No arm, just a dark coat and the calm of someone who had nothing left to prove. The alien delegates stared at him in silence. The Krell diplomat, tall and armored, finally spoke. "Why did you come?" Dre replied, "Because it's better to talk in the dark than die in it." At first, no one trusted each other. The Krell had fought humans in the past. The Jarnathi once sold human DNA on black markets. The Draxery still saw humans as unpredictable. But something had changed. The Gorzel were gone, and everyone wanted to know one thing: what does Earth want now? Captain Dre didn't speak of power. He didn't ask for tribute. He simply placed a small, holo-device on the table. It showed images, hidden files taken from Gorzel. Databases before their fall. The images were terrifying. A new threat. One that none of them expected: Project Eater-class. A black project deep within the old Gorzel systems. A forgotten experiment. Not a weapon, but a being. Genetically built in secret. Not alive, but not dead. A monster designed to erase entire species. The Gore. Zell had stopped it before it could awaken. But in their collapse, the labs that held it were now abandoned, and the creature, it was missing. The room went cold. Even the Krell diplomat growled, "You're saying it's loose?" Dre nodded. "And it doesn't care about flags or borders or pride." He paused. "It only feeds." The pact was signed within 1 hour. No titles, no headlines, no cameras. Just a promise between once enemies. If the monster rises, we rise together, and Earth would lead the response. The galaxy no longer feared Terran power. Now it needed it. Meanwhile, deep in Sector 37AN abandoned star system, long forgotten, something moved. A mining vessel picked up a faint signal. Heartbeat, not biological but mechanical. The crew joked it was a ghost. Then, the signal got closer, one by one. There. Lights went out. The last thing they saw was a shadow across the stars, shaped like no ship, no creature, just hunger. Transmission ended. On Earth, General Rachel Voss met with the AI overseeing deep space threat analysis. "Is it active?" she asked. The AI replied, "Yes, but not fully. It's growing." She stared at the screen and the galaxy. The AI answered, "Watching us, waiting to see if we lead or vanish." In the Terran war room, Captain Dre received a message from the Siren ambassador. "We stood in your shadow. Now we ask to stand beside it." He looked out over the stars. "Then stay close, because the next fight won't be silent." The Pact of Shadows was signed in silence. It wasn't written in light. It wasn't shared across the galaxy. It lived in whispers and waited for war, because something was coming. Something none of them had the power to face alone. The creature had many names. Some called it the Eater class. Others called it the Forgotten Weapon. But humans, they named it simply the Silence. A moonless night in deep space, 3 allied ships, Skrell, Siren, and Human patrolled the edge of an uncharted system. They had tracked the signals. Strange pulses, no clear origin, but always one pattern. When they approached, the stars disappeared, not blocked, not dimmed, gone. Gone. Captain Lyra of the Siren ship sent a message to Earth. We don't know what's here, but the sky. It isn't right. The reply was short. Observe. Do not engage. They didn't listen. The Krell ship powered forward. Scanning with high-energy pulses, that's when it happened. The stars flickered once like a breath. Then came the static. No sound, no signals, just nothing. The Krell ship vanished. No explosion, no wreckage. No last words, only silence. Captain Marcus Dre, now the Supreme Commander of Earth's Shadow Forces, stood aboard the TNS Vengeance. He watched the feed cut. He knew what it meant. It's awake. General Voss called for an emergency summit. Alien leaders arrived in quiet panic. This thing doesn't conquer, said the Draxri Elder. It doesn't even announce itself. Deletes, added the Sire, N. The Terran AI RazorNet played the last frames of the Krell ship's sensors. Not even light escaped. The creature wasn't physical. It was more than a monster. It was a hole in reality, and it was moving toward the core systems. But Earth was ready. Not with fleets, not with armies, but with something built for shadows. The final Terran weapon, Project Black Veil. A device created from reverse-engineered alien tech. Psychic war code. In deep space energy fields. A weapon that didn't explode. It erased. But it needed bait. Something the silence would notice. Someone it would chase. Captain Dre volunteered without a word. The plan was insane. Let the silence follow the TNS Revenant. A decoy ship broadcasting pure human life signals. Draw it to a collapsing star. Activate Black Veil. Seal it. Forever. Simple. Deadly. One shot only. As the Revenant powered into deep space. Dre stared out the window. The stars began to blink and vanish. The thing was close. Too close. Earth Command gave the final green light. The Revenant systems locked. Dr. AA sent one last message. We were never the strongest. Never the fastest. But we learned one thing: the galaxy forgot how to survive the impossible. Then he activated the core. The black veil erupted. No explosion. No noise. Just light. Then nothing. The Revenant was gone. So was the silence and the stars. Returned. The galaxy breathed again. Worlds that had mocked Earth now saluted it. And the last message from Earth's Shadow Division was placed in the Galactic Archives. We were your warning. We were your silence. Now we watch. Back on Earth. In a quiet field, a child looked up at the sky and asked, "Is it over?" Her grandfather smiled. "No," he said. "It's just quiet again. That's how you know we're still out there."